pop over to our code here in ingredients. I'm going to close this for a little bit. First thing here, where we connect to Postgres, we're going to say const pg equals require pg. Const pool equals new pg.pool. User Postgres host localhost database, whatever you called your database. That could be Postgres, that could be, it should be Recipe Guru if you've been following along. Password is whatever you set the password as. I put mine as LOL because I'm a child. And port 5432 because that is the default port for Postgres. Okay, this will connect us to the database now, and we'll now have a pool that we can use. So whenever someone calls type, we want to return to them the ingredients of that specific type, right? So here we want to say const rows equals await pool.query something like select star from ingredients where type is equal to $1. Okay, and then here we're just going to provide type into the parameterized query here. Await here is going to do the query. It'll pause the execution here, and then it'll wait for that rows to come back. So once that is back, then here we're going to say, instead of res.status 501, we'll do a 200. That's actually optional. You can actually just delete that because it does that by default. And then the status here, you can delete that because we don't actually need it. And then you can do rows here like that. Should work now. If we go back over to our Recipe Guru website, you can see so far this is working the way we expect it to. We have fruit, we have veggies, we have meat, and we have other. That all works. Your carousel won't work yet because the client-side code is erroring because that's how I wrote it. So let's make the other one work as well. So there's a bunch of ways that you could do this. I'm just going to show you how I did it. Delete that. We're going to say let where clause, say const params equals page times 5. So if page comes back as 0, that means you're on the 0th page. You want everything from 0 to the 5th or the 4th one, or it'll be the 5th one, but index 4, right? If it comes back with page 1, this will be 1 times 5, so it'll be 5. Offset will be 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. If there's a search term, then I'm going to add my where clause equals to where concat, and I put title and type. If you just did title, that's fine. I'm searching across title and type. And then you're going to say I like $2. Okay. And then you're going to say params.push term. Again, it doesn't matter if $2 comes before $1 in the query, it's still going to go in the order that we tell it to, right? And then now I'm going to say let or const rows equals, rather, const rows equals await pool.query select star from ingredients, and then optionally I might need this where clause. So if they put a search term in there, then we want to filter by that like, right, this I like here. So we can do this where clause like this. If where clause is just an empty string, right, we can even put that here. Then this will just be nothing in white space, right, which is fine. So it'll either filter or not. And then we'll do offset $1, which is coming from this, right? And then we'll do limit 5. Okay, and then here we can get rid of this status, or you can put 200 there, up to you. Get rid of the status not implemented, and we can say rows like that. If you're not familiar with this rows like that, where I just have one, it's both the key and the value, right? Where I have the row key is going to be assigned rows that I get from right here. You can just do shorthand and make it rows like that. Okay, so if we go back over here and refresh, still getting a little bit of an error here. Did I crash my server? I did, probably. There is no one parameter. Yeah, Dustin?
Comment in the chat that no parameters are passed to pool.query.
That's correct. Thank you. So you have to pass in the params right there, or else it's going to crash, because it's trying to look for variables that you didn't provide to it. So now if I refresh, everything is coming in okay. And it's paging okay, which is great. So there's one more thing I kind of want to show you. We're kind of peeking ahead a little bit. Obviously there are no more pages here, right? Because it only returned 1. So how do we know that if there are more pages or not? Well, we have to do something to kind of peek ahead in our query. So there's a whole section on window functions, but I'm going to show you really quickly how to do this. Select star, and then we're going to say count star int as total count. So what this is going to do is this is actually going to go and count how many rows total exist for this query. And it's going to return them as a number called total count. Let me just show you what that looks like. So if I refresh the page and I go to my network tab, and it crashed. Why did that crash? Yep, okay. Count star over parentheses colon colon int. Okay, not crashing. Network. I'm going to show you the results first, and then I'll explain to you why it happened that way. So we have this search. This is what's coming back from the API. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So this is our search one, the one that we were just implementing. You can see all the rows coming back here. ID1, red pepper, so this matches up to this one right here, right? Title, red pepper, we see that. Image, red pepper, we see that right there. Type, vegetable, we see that right there. And then we have this count 31. That's how many total rows exist for this entire query that we have, right? And it's actually on every single one. Total count, total count, total count, right? And it's the same on every one of them. So this is what's called a window function that's selecting across rows. So there's a whole section on it, but the whole reason that we did that is so now if we paginate all of our information here, eventually it arrives to the last one, and it can know there's only 31 in this set, and we're way past that. I'm done, right? So that's called a window function. And just to prove to you that I'm not lying, we will explain that in depth here in window functions. We'll actually explain part of it as well here in aggregation, which we're about to do. But suffice to say, this part right here is counting how many results we have for that entire set. And it'll change, right? So going back here, if I type in Barry, now we are too far away. Oh, did I crash now? I did. So this is fun. We're learning all the things now. My error here is that offset must not be negative. Neat.
In your solution for params.push in the where clause, you actually have the parentheses around the term rather than just pushing in term. You actually put in the like.
Oh yeah. Good point. Okay. So what you have to do here, which I have also not done correctly here, is you have to put in term like that, right? Which is what I was alluding to earlier with my note, that you have to wrap it yourself in the percentages. Okay. Try that again.
Curious what if you just put percent around the $1 in the query, would that still work?
No. Which is why I specifically called it out there. So if you wanted to put it here, right?
$1 yeah, that's what I mean. That wouldn't work.
Pretty sure it doesn't work. Cool. So I wanted to show you search for Barry. Oh, you have to take these out again. All right, Barry. We get 3 berries there. And come on. Barry. Just to demonstrate to you, you look here at rows. Notice this count over, so the total count, it's only counting from that subquery, right? So including that where clause, there's only 3 rows that will be returned here. So that's what the window function does for you. Okay. So that was sufficiently fun and messy, which is, all good code is worth being messy about. But I think we also kind of learned one of the things I really do like about Postgres is it gives you very good error messages. When something goes wrong, it's typically like, hey, you did something here and I don't get it, you should look at it, which usually is pretty close to leading you to a solution. So I'll frequently even say, like, you did this and you probably wanted to do this.